Stop listening for individual words. Start hunting for chunks.
What do you mean by chunks?
Remember, Joanna room for cream. Don't try to hear all 7 words. Just listen for the stress beats.
Yeah. Okay, so picture this. It's a scenario that I think gives a very specific kind of cold sweat to anyone who's ever learned another language.
Oh, I know this sweat. Is it the ordering food sweat?
It is exactly the ordering food sweat.
Yeah.
So you're in a coffee shop, New York, maybe. It's loud, the espresso machine is going, there's some indie music on. You're up next.
And you're feeling good. You're prepared.
Totally. You've got, 10 years of English study under your belt? You aced all the grammar quizzes, you know the vocabulary, you are ready for this moment.
You've even rehearsed your order in your head like 3 times.
Exactly. So you step up, the barista looks you right in the eye and says what sounds like one single noise.
Let me guess. It's something like, Joanna room for cream.
Yes, and your brain just stalls. It completely freezes. You know they're speaking English, but it just sounds like a blur.
And then comes the panic.
Instant panic. The person behind you is shifting their weight. The barista's looking at you, and you just feel this hot wave of shame, thinking, I've failed. I'm a fraud. I don't actually know English.
It is the universal nightmare. I think literally everyone has been there. But here's the thing we have to get straight right away. That feeling, it's not because you're bad at English.
Okay.
It's because you were taught one language in a textbook, and that barista is speaking a completely different one.
That's a huge claim. You're saying textbook English and spoken American English are basically 2 different things.
They really are. They're like 2 different operating systems. And that coffee shop blur, Joanna room for cream, is the perfect proof. Write it down, and it's 7 simple words. Do you want room for cream?
Right. On paper, that's beginner stuff. Anyone would get that in a second.
Exactly. But the gap between the visual separated English in a book and the acoustic, all smashed together English you hear in real life is just massive. And that's our mission for this deep dive.
We're trying to figure out why our brains break when we hear Americans talk.
And how to fix it. Because this isn't about slang or bad English. I really want to emphasize that. This is just standard, everyday American speech.
Which is such a relief to hear because in school, everything is so neat.
It is. In a textbook, words are little islands. They have safe white spaces around them. In reality, American English is a chain. There are no spaces.
Okay, so let's get into the first mechanism behind this. The word smash.
The word smash is a great way to put it. The technical term is linked speech. But yeah, it's about how the end of one word just flows directly into the beginning of the next. The borders just dissolve.
I think we need to hear this. Let's do a little demo. I'll be the textbook robot. You be the real human.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Okay, robot mode engaged.
That's
fun. You doing.
And here's reality. What are you doing?
See, that's terrifying. What are they at? It sounds like a totally new vocabulary word you have to learn.
It does. And we do this all the time. Think about going to. In your head, it's 2 words.
But out loud, it's gonna.
Want to become.
Wantna. Let me becomes let me.
And one that gets a lot of people is would have.
Oh, yeah. Woulda. As in, I woulda done it.
I would have called you. Now, the common misconception here is that this is just lazy.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. Is this just Americans being too lazy to, enunciate properly?
Not at all. It's not laziness. It's efficiency. It's all about creating flow in the language.
Mm-hmm.
Presidents do it. News anchors do it. CEOs do it. If you actually spoke like the textbook, you'd sound strange.
Yeah, you sound really robotic or like you're angry at me. I am going to store.
Exactly. It creates this weird social distance. But here's why it breaks a learner's brain. Your brain is a pattern matching machine, and it's been trained to listen for that little bit of silence. The space between words.
The space that tells you, okay, one word ended, the next one is starting.
But in linked speech, that space is gone. So your brain is waiting for a signal that never arrives. It gets stuck trying to figure out what while the speaker's already 3 words ahead.
So it's a processing lag. You're still on word 1, and they're already finishing the sentence.
And that's what creates the blur. You miss the message, not because you don't know the words, but because you couldn't separate them in time.
Okay, so that's the word smash, but then there's mechanism 2, which feels even more sneaky. This is the case of the missing letters.
This is where it gets really interesting. We don't just link sounds. Sometimes we just delete them entirely. It's called elision. And the #1 victim in American English is the letter T.
The poor letter T. We are not kind to it.
We really aren't. Especially when it comes after an N or in the middle of a word, it often just vanishes. For example, the word internet.
Textbook me says internet, but real me says internet.
What about center
Center. Let's meet at the center.
and mountain?
Mountain.
So now put yourself back in the learner's shoes. You have a file in your brain for the word 20. You've memorized it. You've practiced the T sound. Then you ask how much something costs, and I say, that'll be $20.
Your brain's search engine just comes back with file not found.
Exactly. You're looking for 20, but the sound you heard was 20. It's a mismatch.
And it's not just the T, is it? We also do this with the letter H, the disappearing H.
It's very stealthy. It happens with pronouns like him and her when they aren't stressed. It just takes too much effort to push out that little puff of air for the sound. So give him the book becomes,
book
and tell her I said hi.
becomes tell her I said hi.
It's so subtle, but if you're listening for that crisp her, you might miss the word entirely and get confused.
And then there's the biggest sound thief of them all, the schwa.
Ah, the schwa, the most common sound in the English language and the one nobody ever really teaches you about. It's just that lazy, relaxed sound.
It's the sound of a grunt.
That's a perfect way to describe it. The basic rule is, if a syllable in a word isn't the main stressed syllable, we often just get lazy and turn the vowel into a schwa. So we don't say chocolate.
We say chocolate.
We don't say comfortable.
We say comfortable. We lose a whole syllable in that one.
And vegetable.
Vegetable.
So again, the learner's listening for 4 distinct vowel sounds in vegetable. They hear vegetable. The acoustic shape they hear doesn't match the mental image they have stored.
It's almost like we're gaslighting them. We teach them one word and then we never, ever say it that way.
In a way, yeah. But understanding why we do it is the key. And that brings us to the third mechanism, which is probably the most important of all. It's the music of the language.
You're talking about speed and rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. So languages can be categorized by their timing. Many languages, like Spanish or Japanese, are syllable timed.
What does that mean exactly?
It means every syllable gets roughly the same amount of time, the same beat. It's like a machine gun, da-da-da-da-da, in a very steady rhythm.
Okay, I can picture that. But English isn't like that.
Not at all. English is stress-timed,
Yeah.
more like jazz. The beat falls on the stressed words, the important ones, like nouns and verbs. Those words get stretched out. They're long and clear.
And the other words, the little grammar words.
They get crushed, smashed into these tiny, super fast sounds in between the main beats.
We stretch the big words and we crush the small ones.
Precisely. Let's try it out. Say this sentence for me like a robot. I want to go to the store to get some milk.
Okay. I want to go to the store to get some milk. All equal.
Right. 10 distinct beats. Now say it like you're just talking to a friend.
I want to go da store to get some milk.
Hear that? Go, store, milk. Those were loud. They were long. But wanna and da store. Those were just blurs.
I basically turned to the into da. Just a little tap.
You did. And think about what that means for a listener. In that 10-word sentence, they might only clearly hear 3 or 4 of the words.
And their brain is in panic mode trying to find the other 6.
Exactly. It's stuck trying to figure out what da was, and by then it's already missed the word milk.
This also has to connect to just pure speed, right? I remember seeing some stats on this that were honestly a little shocking.
It's the speed trap. The audio you listen to in a language class is usually around maybe 110 words per minute. It's slow and clear on purpose.
And in real life?
Normal casual conversation is anywhere from 150 to 200 words per minute.
That's almost double the speed.
It's like you learn to drive a car going 20 miles per hour in a parking lot, and then for your test, they drop you onto a Formula One racetrack.
And then they're surprised when you crash.
Of course you crashed. Your brain wasn't trained for that speed.
There's one more mechanism that I am personally very guilty of. The decoration.
Ah, yes. The filler words.
Like, basically, all that stuff.
We call it social decoration, which is a very polite way of saying verbal garbage. These words have, like, 0 actual meaning.
But we use them constantly.
We do. To hold the floor while we think, to soften what we're about to say. Let's take a sentence like, so I was basically, trying to find it.
Okay, so the learner is trying to translate every single one of those words, like, beep, beep, basically.
And they're burning all their mental energy on that junk. What's the actual message?
I was trying to find it. 4 words.
Right. But their cognitive processor has already crashed from trying to deal with the decoration. Native speakers, we have a filter. We don't even hear the likes and yawns. But learners don't have that filter yet.
It's exhausting just thinking about doing all that at once, and that brings up a huge question that I know every learner has. Why can I understand Netflix without subtitles, but I can't understand my neighbor when they ask me about my day?
The movie myth. It's so common. I watch every episode of Friends. I get all the jokes. Why can't I order a sandwich?
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
Well, a few things. First, actors enunciate. It's their job. They're trained to be clear even when they're supposed to be mumbling.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, scripts are clean. Movie dialogue doesn't have people interrupting each other or starting a sentence and then changing their mind. It's all very neat and linear.
And third,
Context. On screen, you have visual cues. The sad music tells you something bad happened. The camera shows you the important object. In a real messy conversation, all of that is gone.
and real life is just chaotic.
It is. And there's also a deep neurological reason speaking is harder. We call it the input-output gap.
Which is just the idea that you can always understand more than you can produce.
Always. Think of it this way. You can probably recognize hundreds, maybe thousands of different faces, right?
Sure.
But could you draw any of them accurately from memory?
No way. Not even close.
That's it. Recognition is just easier than production. When you speak, you're multitasking on an insane level. You have to find the idea, choose the words, build the grammar, move your mouth, listen for your own errors, and read the other person's reaction
That's like 6 jobs at once.
under pressure. So to anyone listening,
Yeah.
if you understand way more than you can say, that's not a failure. That's just how brains work. You're completely normal.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. We've got the word smash, the missing letters, the rhythm. So the million-dollar question, what do we do about it? How do we fix this?
All right, 3 specific, actionable things. First one is a bit of tough love. You have to stop listening to slow textbook audio.
So go cold turkey on the learning tapes.
Pretty much. If you want to get good at understanding real speed, you have to listen to real speed. Unscripted podcasts, interviews on YouTube, and, believe it or not, reality TV.
Reality TV. Seriously.
Absolutely. It's a goldmine for language learning because it's messy. People talk over each other. They use tons of filler. They mumble. It's perfect training for the chaos of real conversation.
So embrace the mess. I like that. What's number 2?
Stop listening for individual words. Start hunting for chunks.
What do you mean by chunks?
Remember, Joanna room for cream. Don't try to hear all 7 words. Just listen for the stress beats.
Yeah.
Want,
Yeah.
room,
Cream?
cream. Okay, yeah. If I hear those 3, my brain can guess the rest of the sentence. That's it. Your brain is a great guesser. Just give it the main anchor points, the loud words, and let it fill in the rest. Don't sweat the small stuff.
That takes so much pressure off. You don't need to catch 100%.
You don't. Which brings us to the third technique, shadowing. This is about connecting your ears to your mouth.
That's when you repeat what a native speaker is saying, right?
Yes, but you try to do it simultaneously, or with just a tiny delay. You mimic their exact rhythm, their reductions. You force your own mouth to learn how to say gonna.
How does speaking help with listening?
Muscle memory. Once your mouth understands the physical feeling of smashing going to into gonna, your ear recognizes it instantly when someone else does it. You're basically reverse engineering the sound.
That's actually really brilliant. You're learning the code from the inside out.
And really the biggest thing to take away from all of this is what I call the 70% rule.
Okay, hit us with it.
Even native speakers don't hear 100% of a conversation, especially in a noisy place. We miss words all the time. Our brain just guesses and fills in the blanks without us even noticing.
So learners are holding themselves to a standard of perfection that we don't even meet ourselves.
100%. If you understand 70% of a conversation, you are winning. You're communicating successfully. Don't let that missing 30% cause you to panic and freeze.
That's a huge mental shift. The blur isn't a failure, it's just data.
It's just a different acoustic code. You have the vocabulary, you have the grammar. You just need to retune your brain from the textbook station to the real life station.
So next time you're in that coffee shop and the barista hits you with that sound cannon.
Don't panic. Just listen for the stressed words.
Mm.
Catch the want, catch the cream.
And when in doubt, just nod and say yes.
Usually a pretty safe bet.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. We've talked about how American English is messy and efficient, but think about your own native language. Do you speak it perfectly, like a textbook? Or do you have your own versions of gonna and wanna that you've just never noticed before? Maybe the messiness isn't an American thing. Maybe it's just a human thing.